afternoon, everybody. Oh, sorry.
How are you today? Hey, we made it. And now I can actually hit the button I wanted to hit, and that was...
Play ball!
All right, there we go. So we're going to be talking about... And we'll be talking about the Red Sox as well. So we got the Yankees. I love that. I love that. Anyway, so we have some stuff we want to talk about real quick about the Yankees. Yankees went against the Red Sox. They have it. I think they play again tonight, right? They play one more game tonight.
Yes. This was a weird wraparound.
Yeah, it's a weird
series.
Weird 4-game series or whatever it is. And Paxton goes tonight, and we'll see how this goes. All transpires. It's not. Clint says, "It's about time you came back."
Yeah, sorry. More technical difficulties.
He's having a hard time, getting relaunched. I mean, we have been on for about 3 minutes, but it just wasn't connecting to YouTube for some reason. I don't know. Something's going on. But anyway, well, I wanted to talk about the Yankees real quick and their record. They're obviously playing lights out baseball this year. They're playing amazing. They're got the second best record or the first best record in baseball. They're just playing tremendous. They have proven throughout the season that they are a very, very solid team. They're a little bit different than they were last year, but I will say they are similar to last year's team. And this is something that Brian has pointed out quite a bit. I've pointed out quite a bit. And even Aaron Boone has even said in the media several times about how they are like a home run hitting team. And the stat that I wanted to kind of point out to everybody that makes me worried about them going to the playoffs, because obviously we know pitching wins in the playoffs. That is a thing that wins you games in the playoffs, whether it's relief pitching or starting pitching. The pitching has to be on point to get you through, like it was with the Red Sox last year. They shifted people around, and they really just had Porcello and Evaldi and the play and the
everything went right
yeah.
for them last year.
And with the Yankees, Boone has said this is obviously a big part of our offense when it comes to home runs. And this is the scary stat for me. New York is 64-12 when hitting multiple home runs this season.
Yeah.
They are 35-4, almost a 900 winning percent when they hit at least 3 home runs in a game. Almost 900% they win their games when hitting 3 home runs. Mm-hmm. That is not going to happen a lot in the playoffs unless something weird happens and they actually are able to hit like crazy in the playoffs. Now, granted, they have people like Gio Urshela, who's hitting the ball out of the ballpark a lot too. DJ LeMahieu, who's hitting the ball out of the ballpark more than normal as well. I don't know if it's just the way that they're attacking, but this DJ LeMahieu wasn't a 25 home run guy in Colorado. He wasn't a 25 home run guy. So I'm very, very shocked to see how this all transpires going into the playoffs. Apparently transpires is the word of the day today. I've used it like 3 or 4 times.
It's a good word.
So I want to see how this works out for them. I'm nervous about this going forward, as I know you are too. So I wanted to just kind of throw this out there. See if any other Yankee fans or even Red Sox fans, if they are just laughing, like, ha ha, like you're just going to strike out a ton in the playoffs and that's how it's going to go. Or if, Yankee fans are just like, no, it's going to work out this year. I want to know what you guys think. How do you feel?
Well, my feelings still haven't changed. I still think Houston is a far superior team just because of their starting pitching and their bullpen, although not on level with the Yankees, is certainly good. It's certainly serviceable at the very least. It's good.
Cole had 15 Ks on his birthday.
Yeah, it's just, again, I keep going back to tell me a scenario under which the Yankees are at best 1-1 after trying to get through Verlander and Cole. Or more importantly, how are they not down 0-2? I just don't see it. I don't see it. Now, I don't even want to look past the division series either because
they've had some times with Verlander they get him in trouble. They just need to capitalize on that.
But what scares me too, also a little bit about the division series, is that wild card game. Right, it's hard to believe that, by the way, that Cleveland might be on the outside looking in, but they are now, I think, a game and a half out of the second wild card, and it is looking like it's good because Oakland and Tampa are just not letting up. Tampa, man, I am so impressed with Tampa. I really am. And I know I said at the beginning of the season, I expected them to be a good team. I expected them to have a winning record. But I still expected them to finish third in this division behind Boston and New York. I guess the one thing we couldn't that we couldn't plan for was Boston really regressing, or just not having everything work out the way it did last year. But man, oh man, Tampa is good. And I'll tell you what, in that division series, if the Yankees, this is assuming, of course, right now they're actually, you know what? It's not even a great thing to bring up, because as of right now, the Yankees are still overall the second team because they have the same record as Houston, but Houston has the current tiebreaker for head-to-head. They've beaten the Yankees 4-3 this year. So the Yankees actually, I guess, would play Minnesota right now, which I also don't love because Minnesota hits a ton of home runs. But the Yankees have historically always beaten Minnesota, so you sort of have to feel okay about that. But I'll tell you what, if the Yankees end up with the number 1 overall seed here and they have to play the winner of Oakland-Tampa, I wouldn't love that. Oakland scares me. I think I think there's a mental block with Oakland maybe this year, but that's also a team historically that they've run through. But bottom line is, listen, the Yankees and the Astros sure should be in this ALCS. Let's be honest, because there is a definite gap between them and those teams below them in the AL. But I still just don't see the path through the Astros.
Yeah.
I think just a lot of things have to break right, and I don't know if this is that year. And the one thing that worries me more than anything, they're gonna put Giancarlo Stanton back into this lineup. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They're going to do it. They're not going to sit there and say, you know what, Giancarlo, it's in the best interest of the team this year and your best interest for us to just, we're going to put a pin in you until next year because you're not where we need you to be. And we just can't risk you going into the postseason and striking out a ton against superior pitching. They're not going to do that. His contract alone dictates, and it should never be this way, but this is the way it is in sports because sports is business. But the bottom line is that guy is going to play in the postseason. He's going to strike out a ton, and Yankee fans are going to curse him, and they're going to curse Brian Cashman for letting it happen. And you know what? Both will share equal blame in that. But if you think for a second, Giancarlo Stanton, who has barely picked up a bat this year, is going to go into the playoffs against great pitching, against guys like Verlander and Cole, and he's going to even hit a respectable 250, you're nuts. That guy might strike out every at-bat. And in some ways, I wouldn't even blame him. The dude has barely picked up a piece of lumber this year. And you're going to go to battle with him? And what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen, too. And Yankee fans are going to hate this. Gio Urshela is not going to start on this team in the playoffs. And that's ridiculous. But it's going to happen because they're going to put LeMahieu at third. They're going to put Voit at first. And Stanton's going to be in that outfield. And that means there is no place on the starting lineup for Gio Urshela. You heard that here first. And that may sound like blasphemy, but I think even Michael Kay said it the other night. He's like, Yankee fans are going to have a hissy fit because Gio Urshela is not going to be starting for them in the playoffs. Guess what? That's true. That's true. And it's a disaster. That is an absolute disaster. Because I think you and I both know Gio should be at third, right? You should have Didi at short, Glaber at second, LeMahieu at first, and you should have, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, Gardner should be absolute. Well, Gardner probably is going to start regardless, I think. But I would not have Giancarlo Stanton in this lineup. And honestly, I'd rather have Voit at like DH. I don't want
right now. I mean, Tauchman's out. I mean, we don't.
Tauchman is out.
So, I mean, that's going to open up a spot.
That does open up a spot, which again, I just, not only do I have a bad feeling about the Astros pitching, but I just also have a bad feeling that when this starts, Gio Urshela is going to be on the bench and not playing third base. And that bothers me.
Yeah.
Because I like Luke Voit, but the way LeMahieu is good at first, and the way Gio played at third, I'm sorry, Gio earned this.
Yeah.
He earned it, and you're going to take it from him. Basically because ultimately this comes down, it's not really so much having to have Voit in the lineup. This is all about appeasing Giancarlo Stanton, which I don't know why the Yankees feel they need to do. I hate to say this because I don't like to, I'm not rooting for injury. What I'm rooting for here is that Giancarlo suffers just some kind of enough of a setback for the Yankees to say, okay, we can't play you. We just can't do it. We can't even have you on the playoff roster. That's all I'm hoping for. Now, and that's not rooting for injury. I'm not rooting for the guy to get maimed. I just want him to have enough of a setback that he doesn't get onto this team.
Take care of yourself, Giancarlo.
Yeah,
Take care
right.
of yourself.
Just, I mean, and again, like, there's no way for me to say that without kind of coming off like a dick, because I'm not trying. Again, I don't want the guy to get hurt. But he has not played this year. He will be a detriment to that team in October. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I think he still has like their 4th highest batting average.
Oh, my God. Off of how many at-bats?
Like 11.
12? He got 16 at-bats this year. I don't even know how many at-bats the guy has.
I think he's batting like 290.
Oh, my God.
He's got an on-base percentage of like 500.
There's no place for you on this team this year. Sorry.
Well, they're going to have to figure that out sooner than later. But one thing I want to kind of touch on real quick before we leave is Dave Dombrowski. Really, really weird thing that happened. They just kind of let go of him in the middle of the night last night. Said, peace out. We're going to move in a different direction. We need to figure out a way to confront some new challenges. And he doesn't feel like that he doesn't think that David Dombrowski can solve. So it's a very interesting situation there. When I first saw it, I was like, "Wow, this is interesting." And then I sent the text over to my friend, our friend Tim Callahan, my other friend Tim, who are both Red Sox fans. And Tim Callahan, I don't think was surprised, nor do I think he was upset about it by any stretch, because I think the feeling was, listen, we'll get to Nadal very quickly at the end, Clint. The thing with Dombrowski, and I think what Tim kind of said was that, look, Dombrowski did his job. He came in, he put the team together, he helped them win a World Series, but he's not really the right guy to take this moving forward. Like, they need a guy who's going to kind of come in and cultivate a lot of the young talent, because that's not a Dombrowski thing. Dombrowski's all about trading guys away to get now players to win. And listen, he did his job, so you can't take it away from him. The guy did win you a championship. But I guess from that perspective, I understand it. But here's the problem with the Red Sox. They're going to have that big decision to make. What are they going to do about Mookie? Because you have to pay that guy. I'm sorry. He's one of the 3 faces of baseball. He's a perennial MVP. You have to pay that man. I know it's going to cost you Trout-like money, but what choice do you have? But here's the problem. JD Martinez is probably not going to opt out. There's not a lot of other options for him. The NL does not have a DH. That closes off an entire league obviously
for you.
He's not good in the outfield.
No.
Did you see that thing that was thrown around on Twitter with him going to the right field wall, and he actually grabbed a woman's breast?
Yes. That was hilarious, by the way.
Her reaction was like,
oh, right. It was pretty great. Well, she did have ample, to choose from. Anyways, I don't want to Me Too this thing. Listen, the bottom line is, JD Martinez would be the guy. I'm sure if the Red Sox had their druthers, they'd be like, JD, we don't want you to opt out. We just want you to go, because we need to pay Mookie. And your salary is taking up the money that we need for Mookie. But the problem is, I don't know that JD Martinez is going to just walk.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that there's a better situation out there for him, and I don't know that he'd get paid more.
They could try and trade like David Price or somebody like that to free up some, but they just don't. It's going to be tough. Who's going to want David Price at this time?
That's a hard contract to move. Yeah. And you know what? They're going to have a problem. Tim brought this up too. He thinks that the Chris Sale and the Nate Eovaldi contracts could bite them in the rear when it comes to Mookie. Because there is only so much money to go around, and the Red Sox have. And I think that's why Dombrowski got the axe last night.
It makes sense. It's just weird how they did it. It's just the abruptness in the middle of the night. You could have easily.
Sounds to me like there was an argument there, maybe between him and ownership.
Yeah. And there's something that has to.
Dismissed.
You would think that it would happen closer to the end of the season. It's not like they can do anything right now. They can come up with plans, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of balls in the air, and free agency and.
I think I saw something that said they're gonna promote a couple of guys from within, and all that. But I'll tell you, they will have. That is a fascinating offseason for Boston. It really is to see what they're.
It's going to be a fascinating offseason in general. It should be, but that's what we said last year too.
Here's the other option, and I don't know if you want to go down this road, but you could package Mookie Betts and try to trade him and get unbelievable. You could get a ransom back for an obscene.
I think that's what they mean by. I think that's what they mean by they're doing. They have big, huge challenges, and I think that's one of the challenges. I think they might trade. Yeah. I think that's an obvious thing that should be in the.
I don't know how you sell that to Boston fans, but
it doesn't matter. I mean, they're going to show up. They're not going anywhere.
no, you're right. They'll fill that 34,000 seat stadium every time. Every time.
Yes, they fired Dombrowski.
Yeah, it happened in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Heard it here. He said he heard it here first.
Nothing good happened
at like midnight last night.
Yeah.
All right. So the last thing that we were doing before we're on our way out, you heard the outro music play and everything like that, is that we wanted to give some serious respects to Rafi Nadal, who beats Medvedev for his 19th major. I think this was the U.S. Open. Is that what it was? And that's, he obviously has a ton of French, but this is a big deal, huge deal for Nadal. He's only one behind Federer.
One behind Fed, yeah.
And he's got a few on Djokovic still. So he is.
It is,
and he's only 32. So
what an era in tennis where we can say. And it's hard for me. It's hard for me to say that because we've seen guys,
Serena,
we've seen guys like Sampras. I still have an incredible amount of respect for Bjorn Borg. I think Borg was an all-time. Agassi, who was my favorite tennis player of all time, has 8 major titles. But we are in an era where we are witnessing. We are able to say we are witness to the 3 best men's players. Actually, we are witness to the 4 greatest tennis players who ever lived. Serena, Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. I don't even think it's up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, Steffi Graf is up there too, but when we got to see her at the end of her career,
Martina Navratilova, I mean, they're all in that conversation. But
I do think the competition level was better back then. But I think it was a little better back then. I don't. You can look at it and just in like college sports and stuff like that. Like, there's not as many tennis players. There's just not.
Maybe on the women's side, the competition was better because you had a lot there. You had Martina, you had Steffi, you had Monica Selik, you had Gabriella Sabatini. Gabriella Sabatini. There were a lot. I mean, Steffi Graf. I mean, it was a big field back then. But Serena is so head and shoulders above everybody. It's so top heavy with her. Yeah. But on the men's side, though, you've obviously right now with these 3 guys, you've got unbelievable. It is an unbelievable era. It really, really is. We are privileged to be able to watch these 3 guys play.
Indeed.
And right now, they're all kind of like you could make arguments for all 3 of them being the GOATs. You really could. I mean, selfishly for me, I still say Federer because he's my favorite of the 3. But
and he's most well-rounded. I mean, I guess not the most well-rounded, but he's pretty darn well-rounded because he's won them all. And
I mean, he has. I mean, but he's only won 1 French. You've got Rafa, who's got like 10 French, and so like there's some. Djokovic probably have maybe one of the more balanced ones. I'd have to look at the resume, but it's crazy.
16. I think he's at
16 or 17.
He's at 16.
20 for Fed, 19 for Nadal. It's nuts.
Crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening. However you took this in. I don't know. I don't know how you took it in, but it was on YouTube. So other than that, or maybe on Facebook, I guess. I don't know if I share it on Twitter. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for doing that and, commenting, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, all that kind of stuff. Thank you. And we will be back again on Friday at some point. I think I might have a doctor's appointment that I have to go to for my son. So we'll figure that out. No matter what, we'll have another show. We'll figure out how to do it. We'll come at you either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday if we have to. I don't want to have to do Saturday. Brian Man doesn't want to have to do Saturday. So we'll see if we can get it done before then. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Again, you can find me on Twitter at @EinhornusFinkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Brian_man. Real quick, Tony Stark, part of the journey is the end. Okay, that's it. Stay classy, political. Bye.
And you can find us on Twitter at Shane and Brian Man, or on Facebook.com/Shane and the Brian Man. Thank you. Peace out. See you soon. I got to go get a root canal. Yay.
Yep. I told you, they're not that bad. Just a lot of Novocaine.